The Working Artist Project is brought to you by Second Line Arts Collective. Learn how you can support at secondlinearts.org.
We're creating a platform for those who are curious, one that tells the story from the artist's perspective. Moments in time, captured from the innovators who are reshaping dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. This is the Working Artist Project.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Working Artist Project. And Darrian, what's going on?
Gregory, Agid, what's up, bro? Welcome back to the show. And we got a very special guest today, man. I was telling my wife, man, because a lot of cats don't know this, but me and Roland go way back to when I first moved to New Orleans back in 2012. And Roland would put me on gigs, and I was sad, and he wouldn't mind. And Roland would hang out with me and give me advice. It was great, man. I don't know if you remember, but Roland, we used to do these gigs at Mr. Chill's. Remember that in the barbershop?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I sure do.
Mr. Chills.
Mr. Chills. Yeah, I mean Mr. Chills. He passed away, but well, anyway, y'all. Let's welcome the one and only.
He did.
Roland Guerin to the Working Artist Project.
Woo! Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Oh wait, I got a button.
Where's the applause at?
Hey, man, thank you for having me on.
Roland, how you doing this evening?
That's what's up.
Roland, how you feeling tonight?
I'm actually feeling pretty good. Got my little cup of coffee.
Oh, that's killer. Coffee makes the world go
Bass
round.
in hand. Oh,
Well,
man.
let's get right into it. So, man, dude, what's crazy is that I actually completely forgot this until just a moment ago. But you're a disciple of the great Alvin Baptiste, also, and I was just wondering if you've done so many incredible musical things, but the thing that we have in common is the great Alvin Baptiste. So I kind of wanted to start there this evening. But man, how did you meet Mr. Bat, and what was it like going to Southern back then?
Oh man, it was killing. That was one of the best decisions I made, in my life. I was set on going to Berkeley out of high school, and my band director in high school is a guy named Lee Forche, and he was lead trumpet player for Woody Herman, and he lit in my behind about every day. I mean like lit. I mean like cursed me out head to toe. Knucklehead, such and such, and this and that, and this and that. You're talented, but you lazy son of a, and so he was like, no, man, you need to go study with Bat. You need to go study with Bat. And I had so much respect for Mr. Forche, and I'd heard a lot about Mr. Bat. And so, I remember they had a recruit team, to come. And I made the decision, and that was one of the best decisions I've made in my life, But check it out. Okay, the year I got there to Southern, huh?
Go ahead.
I said the year I got to Southern, Mr. Bat retired.
Really?
And then so I spent that first year, spent the first year, a year and a half or so without him. And, a ton of Wes Anderson was there, a ton of talented folks were there. Eric Baskin was teaching. And, so what I did is after that time period, I switched to marketing major to be a marketing major. And Mr. Bat came back and taught part-time. But we both know that Mr. Bat's part-time is nowhere near part-time. It's like full-time on steroids, just because of his energy and his love to share and teach, and so I got, then I kept being a marketing major, and I finished school in marketing. But I mean, I used to go share with Mr. Bat like 6 a.m. at his house before school, and Miss Bat would be in there. Roland, you want some breakfast? I'm like, no, Miss Pat, I'm okay. And we go straight back to his office, computer, printouts everywhere, little punch cards, and we would shed,
Man, that's
and
so
then
beautiful.
shed throughout the day.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
never, it's funny because I only got to meet Mr. Bad one time. It was he was sitting in the back at Snug Harbor. I didn't really have a relationship with him. I only have
Hmm.
a relationship through cats like you, and especially through Greg, and but I think mentorship is extremely important. And like, what do you
Oh man,
what did you really learn from being mentored from one of the greatest mentors of all time? That you something that you put
the
forward in
only
your career.
person, the only person stopping you is you. That's that's what he showed me. I remember I was passing by, and I was always in between the business department and walking to my car, getting my upright, my electric or whatever, and going back just all day. And I was passing by the band room, and he was in there playing this incredible lick. It was just this long lick, and then he would play it and start over. And then he saw me out the corner of his eye with the clarinet in his mouth. Roland, Roland, come here, come over here, come catch this. And so I was like, Mr. Bat, I can't play that. I mean, listen to that. And so he would slow it down, phrase by phrase, and just play it. And after I got it, about 10, 15 minutes, he'd bring it up and he'd bring it up to speed. And like by the time we were done, it was up to tempo. You know, there wasn't any question on whether I could do it or not. He just said, just do it, figure it out. I'll help you. I could have stopped and turned around and said, oh, that's too hard for me and walked away. I put that bass down and zipped it up from the bottom and, and took it out and dove into it, you know?
That's so funny because that story you're telling me is like exactly. I remember that moment so many times. Like I'd be on the other side of the hallway at Noka, and I would just hear my name, and sometimes I would pretend not to hear him because I knew like if I walked to this other side of the hall, I'd be in the room for like 3 hours shedding with
Oh yeah. Oh
him.
yeah, at least. At
But yeah,
least.
man, and it was cool because like that process too. Like he was, man. I totally agree with you, man. He was one of those cats that like always, he didn't push you, like he welcomed you to his limits or to your limits, and he had a way of like he showed you how to do the work for yourself, and he taught us how to learn, and I really love
Hmm.
those moments, man.
He showed how things are related too. It's like all instruments are related. He didn't play upright, you know, but he's the one that showed me. He said, "Yeah, get that ping, the ping." He didn't know how to get it or how to describe it, but then he started talking about the pressure that I would use, and he compared it to the pressure on covering the whole wholly on a clarinet or a saxophone or any kind of wind instrument, that I have to have that pressure down to get the tone. And not only that, but my hand shape, it's the same. It's the same. You hold drumsticks, you hold all these different things. It's all related. The weight of my arms and playing and using the natural weight, and the weight when you come down on the piano, it's just not your fingers just doing this. And it's all related. The weight of hitting the drumstick, on the cymbal in a certain kind of way. And it's, you know, person could break down a whole whatever on physics or the physics of it, but it's all very human and it's all connected. And he broke
Mm.
all that stuff down. Breath and phrasing. When I would play, you know, you are physically blowing to get the note, but he told me to do the same thing, and that would give me that representation of the phrasing and the breath, because all those are important,
Yeah, man.
while I'm not playing a wind instrument.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm sitting here thinking about all the people that you've had the opportunity to play with, from Marcus Roberts to Alan Toussaint, all these great, like, I mean, the geniuses of our time. And do you think you would have been able to get there without that kind of mentorship, without somebody like, okay, let me help you reach your highest level?
Without, like, I would say, before meeting and knowing Marcus, um, yeah, I would say at least two people, Mr. Bat and my mom,
Mm.
because she broke it down early. And actually she subbed for because she plays bass also. She subbed some gigs for me, like playing with Mr. Bat.
No way. Come on.
She subbed some gigs for me. She knows
Oh man,
Randy Jackson, Herman, all of, yeah.
that's so killing.
Um, but like she hit it home with don't hold back, you are who you are and play your soul. you know let it out, like just don't hold back. There's no reason for us to hold back,
Hmm.
with anything. um so it's that kind of thing, that no, if I wouldn't have had that and then all that reinforcement from Alvin Baptiste in the same thing, no, Alan, Mr. Toussaint would have sensed it. Marcus Roberts would have sensed it. You know, um, yeah, all of the folks, Paul Gilbert. I mean, they would just know. They would, how like this is kind of a weird analogy, and it's kind of weird. I'm gonna say it anyway. But like an animal or a predator can tell if somebody is scared, or they can tell when to mess with somebody or when not to. And it's that kind of thing. It's like when you have the confidence in you that you can actually do something, not arrogance, that's a whole different kind of thing.
Mhm.
Boldness is different. Boldness is it. When you have that stuff in you, it's, for one, it's comforting. And somebody hiring you, well, they know, if they get the feeling that they can rely on you. So it's all within that. So no, my mom and Alvin Baptiste totally helped in that. Even if I didn't know something, I know I had it in me to figure it
Hmm.
out.
Man, that's so beautiful. Uh, you know, again, like kind of like um, talking about referencing what Darrian was saying, like the cats you've played with, it's just an incredible roster of musicians, like cats like George Benson to Alan Toussaint to the great Marcus Roberts and many many others. I was wondering how does someone from Louisiana, from the South, right, leaving Southern, end up getting all of these like world class gigs and just like traveling the world and things like that. I don't know if you have any advice on how to do that, or at least your experience
Yeah.
doing it.
I mean, my experience, it was very fortunate, and a big giant blessing of things one after another. I mean, before I graduated Southern in marketing, Mark Whitfield moved to Baton Rouge,
Hmm.
and so um, he actually married Troy Davis's sister. And from that relationship, and then I guess he was not, I guess, I mean, he was asking around, like, who's a bass player around? And and he heard about me, and so they auditioned me. And man, I had, you know, my sound was like nil, just null, whatever you want to call it. It was just, a good sound, but not a loud sound, not one that could drive a band. So like in Mark's band, playing acoustically with the big Fender Twin and then the RE20,
Hmm.
and then Troy, powerful. I had to work at getting that stuff together. So I mean that really helped push the whole thing. I met a lot of folks, a lot of the great musicians that that we all know, with playing with Mark, and then from Mark's band to Marcus Roberts' band, and Marcus Roberts' band. straight into Alan Toussaint's band.
Mm.
You know, um, when I left Marcus's band, Reggie Toussaint had just asked me because I'd done some studio work and then sub some gigs and played some gigs with Mr. Toussaint. Reggie asked me, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm not Marcus's band anymore." It's like, "Man, well, we have an opening. Would you like to be in our band?" I was like, "Yes." So I mean, that's what I'm saying. It was a streamline of blessings
Mm.
in that sense. And you know, how the series of events occurred in that kind of way. And the same thing after Mr. Toussaint passed, then Dr. Joan asked me to join his band and then be his musical director and all. And so I mean, it's how the events happen in life, but a very big blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this is one of those things like we keep having people in the same thing. Like you gotta be prepared when that opportunity comes. Because a
Yeah.
person like you in the shed, you are ready. And those musical styles are very different from Marcus Roberts to Dr. John. And like it's not like it's just like, oh, okay, it's just the same. It's completely different. And if we have some listeners on here who aren't musicians, most of the people, and I don't even know, it's like cooking different dishes. It's like baking a chocolate cake is one thing, but making like gumbo is completely different. Like you cannot
Yeah.
use the same rules and principles to do these two different things. And that's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you did, man. I think that's the greatness of you. Like how do you how does that even work out in your brain? Like do you not pigeonhole yourself? Are you what how does that work out?
No, I kicked it off loving all that music, you know, like I could go through middle school or whatever and just growing up, um, a lot of those bands from this spectrum of genre to that spectrum of genre. Like my dad would play classical and jazz. First
Mm.
jazz record I heard was Miles Smiles and then Nefertiti. And so Ron's sound was ingrained in my head because I put that album on and listen real close, like literally, like this is the speaker and I'm right here and I'm picking out the instruments. And then we'd have uh, Star Wars. I put on that album with John Williams and listen to all that stuff and listen to all the other the classical records that my dad had. My mom would play blues and zydeco and all day, Clifton Chenier and then Bobby Blue Bland and BB King and she put on Al Green, and then we would have all the music that we liked. And I mean, I would listen to anywhere from like the band America, um, to Aha, Kajagoogoo, the Bar-Kays, um, Break, Confunction, Daz Band, to ZZ Top, Rush, AC/DC, Def Leppard, um, then just I mean going on Prince and Michael Jackson, James Brown, and I mean just a widespread Hall and Oates, Duran Duran. I'm and checked out thoroughly everything just because I love songs.
Mm.
I love the stories, and I really took it just moved me on how these things and grooves and things were created and how they made up these different styles of music. And then we had folk music on albums from all across the world. We had folk music from Switzerland. We had folk music from Asia, folk music from Africa, and I would listen to all that. I just loved all of it.
Mm.
And so even like in playing with Marcus, and Marcus even knew, he's like, man, because we went to a music store. We've been playing upright night after night after night, and I saw electric bass. Man, I pulled that sucker off the wall and I started going to town. And Marcus was like, man, I didn't know you can do that. Man, why are you playing with me? And I was like, bro, you know why I'm playing with you. Come on. He's like, man, but I didn't know you can play like that. I'm like, yeah, I love music. It's music. It's not like it's on Saturn or somewhere. This is all on Earth.
Hmm.
We all drink water. We all listen to music.
Yeah, but you know that people listen to music like they take their music like they politics. People be like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't like blue or I don't like country music. I don't like this. It's like, damn, did you give it a chance?
Well, I guess there's nothing wrong with preferences. There's nothing wrong with having things that folks like. At the point to me where a person may just close themselves off and not be inviting in terms of closing their ears to listen. I think that's more of the problem.
Hmm.
And that's a whole set. That's a whole deep set. But you know, having an ear to listen is a really important thing. And we are seeing it being a rarity, which is unfortunate. You know.
Yeah, dude, that's it. All when it comes to music, it all starts with listening. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
first thing. It
Yeah,
doesn't
man.
start with playing; it starts with listening.
Man, I mean, we were, like my thought of what South Korean folk music would sound like, because I hadn't heard it up until then, but we went to South Korea, and it was with Marcus. And we went to a traditional folk music concert. And I kid you not, man, it was dark, and then folks started like playing the drums. I was like, okay, this is hip. Man, folks started singing and wailing, and it sounded like a black gospel church.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm in South Korea. This is killing. And I'm blown away because of my thought of what I thought it may sound like was totally wrong, you know? And then I started going to the history. I started like checking out, well, you know, like a lot of things happen with oppression, a lot of things happen with a bunch of different things. And people are human and they voice this through music in a very similar way. And you know, yeah, give it like if I would have had the thought to say something like, "Oh man, no, I'm not. No, I want to watch, Netflix or something tonight. I mean, I want to instead of just going and checking it out and being open and taking it in. I mean, I wouldn't have had that experience. You know, so it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, we got to be open to new experiences, and when we bring so much to the table, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to find out that we're wrong.
Yeah,
or,
and
or
this, yeah, nothing wrong with being wrong.
Mm.
I'll
or
admit it if I'm
I mean,
wrong.
just expanding our consciousness. That might be the better way of putting it.
Yeah.
No, no, it's nice. Being wrong, you know,
Well, we should
it,
all aim to be wrong, man. I guess that's really a
I
good thing to
mean,
do.
well, if you're open to doing something the right way, and you know what Mr. Bat always said, there's a correct way and there's the right way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
So if we're open to doing it the right way.
We've been kind of talking about Marcus and the great Alan Toussaint, and I was wondering, man, how going into those two gigs, like how were they similar, and how were they different in terms of your function as a musician and a bass player?
Oh man. Um, Honestly, they were really similar, even though the musical styles were very, very different. Um, the visual obvious similarity was my position. Like my position in Marcus's band was at the left side of the piano, right by his left hand.
Hmm.
So when he would play, because Marcus is blind, and so he if he wanted to change, he would go and hover over a note, and I would see exactly where he was going. And when he would drop it down, I'd try my best to be right there with him on that beat. I was in this exact same position with Alan Toussaint, like living off of his left hand, doing the exact same thing because at the spur of a moment, he can go into an arrangement, and he knew I was going to be right there with him. That's one of the things that he enjoyed, you know, with me or from me. The other thing, similarity, is their attention to detail.
Mm.
You know, in terms of detail with Marcus, he's meticulous. He's he will break something down to the bare essence of it, learn it, understand it, and then build up from there. Everything about it. So by the time he's done, he won't necessarily say he's done, but by the time he's finished doing a lot of the work that he wants to do, it's totally incredible. And Alan Toussaint was the exact same way. He would break something down and learn something. You know, he had perfect pitch. He could play a bunch of different styles, and he would tell me, he's like, yeah, I mean, I don't even feel like I've gotten something under my hands unless I played like 100 or so times. I mean, then I start to kind of feel like I'm getting, you know, a little better at it. I mean, and Mr. Toussaint was up in age, but his, you know, and that's just in terms of playing, but same thing with arranging. You know, like the difference between the and the can mean two totally different things in the context of a song and writing lyrics, where you put a lot of these details and where you bring them in and take them away. They both had that kind of understanding on what that would do and how that would make people feel.
Yeah, man, that's a beautiful observation, and
Because
that was a that was actually a great question because you know people I guess it's something you don't really think about unless you're a musician. Like, oh wait, I got a different job. It's the same instrument, different job in every band, you know, and especially in the rhythm section that goes for because we're
yeah,
gypsies. We play with different people every night. Man,
yeah,
look, I do want to take a moment
man.
and switch gears to your sound, your music and what you're creating. Let's this song you do. I want the people to hear it first, and then we'll talk about it. But there's one called 28 Days, and I want to play this one, and then we'll hear the story behind it. All right, here we go.
All right.
Yep. I think Darren, you need to unmute yourself again. Technical.
Damn, I was
Man,
going off.
man,
I was,
we've become so hip over here. We can't even use the volume anymore.
I know. I got so many buttons and dials. I'm trying to
I'm
control.
plugging my
Anyway,
phone just to make sure y'all all on. There we go.
So basically, what I was saying as I was
Yeah.
muted, as all the people are watching us on live TV here, is that was a beautiful song. And the first thing the artist I thought about as far as influence goes is it's a little bit like 10%. I hear Prince, but then also I hear country music,
Yeah.
which is like okay. And then
Yeah.
also lyrically to me, it feels like folk, which is kind of I'm just curious, man. Like, just kind of tell us a story about that and what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't catch I think my phone froze.
Oh, what's up? Oh, which part didn't you catch? I just want to know the story, the kind of
I
the story.
heard folk.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just saying, I want to hear the
Focus.
story of the song. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was approached by by my publicist, Karen. She was Dr. John's publicist as well. And to write a song about um kind of, for one song to help people. This was during 2020. And just bring awareness. A lot of people were writing COVID songs, and I didn't want to write something that would drill something in somebody's head. I wanted to make it inviting. And like if everybody would wear a mask for a month or 28 days or so, then that would cool out a lot of stuff in itself. It would have. So that's where the lyrics and the intellect behind it kind of come from. And I wanted to make it inviting. So, you know, I was just like, man, we can bring this thing down, down, down. Yeah, we can bring it way down. So it's like bring it down, down. Um, and even like the little interlude part, it goes down, you know, it goes down in harmony, and I can totally hear folks blowing over it. I mean, speak a little bit over here, just I mean, just all the way. um, and so Prince is definitely a big influence. He's one of my favorite art was one of but still was one of my favorite artists. And his songwriting, his singing, like in singing, my falsetto is really high, and the rest of my singing voice, I can sing really deep and really low. And that just broad range, I just love to layer things and express things. And there's no guitar anywhere like on the single. It's all bass. But his guitar playing influenced my bass playing. Um, and so that I don't know the the folk, the country, that kind of basic groove, just real straightforward, real down home. It's an inviting thing. And so like a lot of these different aspects of it, to me, help make it inviting. God, I just wanted it to be inviting. I mean, no, it's up to the person, the listener, to tell if it is or if it isn't, but that's what I wanted to bring forth from me. And then like there's one part a little bit where I don't think we didn't get to it, but I totally put um New Orleans and Louisiana in Allen Toussaint, like smack in the song. Like I just totally changed it up and did like a real vocal thing. I changed up the bass line and the whole thing. Then I went right back into it. Um,
Are you playing all the instruments on the track?
oh yeah, and I mixed it and mastered it.
And just for everyone at home, I believe this is the track that you were awarded the songwriting competition winner, right?
Yeah, Burl Audio. I entered a Burl Audio songwriting contest, and I won. And this song won it. And man, I'm I'm still thrilled about it. You
Dude, I
know,
mean, that's so cool. I mean,
Burl
I'm
out man,
sure
Burl
this.
Audio equipment is thick.
They sent you some nice stuff, right?
It's sick in the best way. It is so sick. It's yeah, it's in the it's all a part of the same kind of thing.
Mm.
The human aspect of things, like we were talking about with our mentors. I love folks at Rupert Neve Designs and Burl Audio. I mean, they want the purity in the sound and all of the aspects of their gear to actually bring the music to the ear in the most natural, beautiful way without artifacts. And to do this, a lot of the gear is expensive, but it's made with the best components that you can get in a way with an intellect that is just crazy, you know. And so yeah, it was and is an honor to have won that competition.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Do you see yourself more as a singer songwriter kind of vibe now, or like how do you see your artistry and your musicianship like developing and moving forward?
Oh
Um,
man.
and also as a songwriter too, what influences you to write music?
I've always seen myself as a songwriter that plays bass.
Mm.
I didn't look at myself as a bass player until probably maybe 15 years ago, 12, 15 years ago, something like that. Then I was like, okay, I'm a bass player. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, but I'm a songwriter still that plays bass. You know, even in bass lines, when I first started playing with Mark Whitfield, I didn't know anything about bass lines. I would play melodies on the bottom
Hmm.
and just walk melodies with the feel that I love from, Sam Jones and Ron Carter and Paul Chambers and, Oscar Pettiford and Jimmy Blanton. And I would put that feel in it in Mingus but I didn't know anything about bass lines. And so Mark actually started helping me with that. And Marcus took it and he helped me a ton with that. Um, and so, but still I would play bass lines, even in the jazz context, that hopefully if you just solo the bass lines, they're still playing melodies with this intellect behind it
Mm.
or within it. Um, and so that just never changed. And I've always loved stories. And one side, I mean, like playing with Alan Toussaint, it was such a great experience. I can't even like describe in words, but you know, he would like, I don't know, he probably heard at least 50% or more of all my original music, released and unreleased. And we would talk about him, we would text about him, we'd email about him, we on trips, and he'd give me suggestions, some things like he'd say, man, just, in the very elegant way, you might want to try this or don't touch that, you know. His detail in the story and musically telling it. Um, so I mean, in a way, to me, it's all related. It's not like it's something different in terms of jazz bassist, singer, songwriter, composer, electric bassist, because I'll use all the same stuff and the same intellect, even on electric bass, in terms of the resonance of an upright. I remember I used to um, shed, man, like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours on one note
Hmm.
over and over and over again. I would play that thing and hit it. I would let it resonate as wide as I could get it without hitting the other strings. And then as soft as I can get it with still not being anemic, with still getting the fullness of the tone. And then I would go to different levels in between and I would learn what that felt like. and I still do the same stuff on electric. I'm just not playing. I'm not hitting the string any old kind of way. If you break a note into like four parts, one, the two, then three, then four, and that's the full length of the note before you play the next note. I would shed and master each part as best I could to give a song and playing a song meaning, excitement. Sometimes I can hold out a note longer, and that creates more buildup without actually like, you know, just bashing the bass or something like that. But I could bring intensity into different things just with the length of certain things or the attack of certain things. And, you know,
Yeah,
so I mean,
that's actually beautiful, Roland, because that just made me think of something that Troy said to me once,
mhm,
and I was checking him out playing. I think with Jeremy at the Ritz. This was years
yeah.
ago, and he just looked at me and said, "Man, have you ever mastered anything?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, so like because what you're talking about is mastery in I mean, like you said, Alan Toussaint mastered the art of telling a story, and
Yeah.
I like how you threw that in there subtly. I like how you threw that in there, and because as a songwriter, as a person like you who's a songwriter, you have to master that first. Like, you know what I mean? Like we only listen to certain songs because of the story, not because of the cool chord changes. No one gives a shit about that. I don't
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
I don't listen to Beat It because of the chord changes. Who cares about that? So that's beautiful, man. Because what you're showing is like you pay attention to details, and you're trying to figure out how can I do this better at every level. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That
That's what
every
you're
level,
saying?
totally. Every level is killing, you know. Same, I mean, it's the exact same thing with this. Okay. Um, you know, um, like this instrument is an embodiment of history and future. Like it gets a totally different sound, but it can get the sound like, like on ABC,
But see,
like on all those
you
Motown
gotta tell the
records.
people that you designed this whole instrument from head to toe, right?
Well, this is like the body itself. This is a prototype. To have the custom built bass, Ibanez mentioned. Well, they told me that I wasn't going to be able to have a custom bass until next year. And they said, like, what we can do is we can build you a prototype. This is the Tallman bass line of Ibanez. So we can take the Tallman TMB 605 or 505 and build you a prototype. And you can have that sooner. I'm like, soon, yes. Yes. And then so they got the Tolman. So I started investigating what kind of sound, what kind of pickups, what it would cover, what kind of styles it would cover, and the flexibility of it, you know, in terms of not just a bass player playing on gigs and things like that, but for studio production.
Hmm.
What sounds good, you know, what kind of thing will translate on recording well, would sit well in the mix. Just plug it up and let it go. And that is this thing, right? I kid you not. Um,
Wow.
Sting's a big influence on me. And if you look at like the bass that he plays, it's like a 51P. I don't know. Look, folks, it's the sunburst. It's kind of it's got the one pickup, the P, the original P bass pickup, maybe a 56 model. I don't know, but that sound with the police and all that, that's that sound, along with a ton of other records. It just, but also like this particular sound. You can, I can all the same stuff I got from Elvin Jones and studying him, studying his ride cymbal, you know, playing within the feeling and pushing the rhythm instead of playing all the in between things. You can push it and have all this space happening. Marrying that with a pockaway feeling,
Mm.
marrying like just a bunch of other things. Like there's a bunch of tools that are just there. Marrying that with like the details that Mr. Toussaint would put in his music with the lyrics, the emphasis on certain parts of the word, breaking it up a certain kind of way to help tell the story. Um, and then the things I added to it in putting melody in the bass and building parts up on top of that. And then it just makes stuff sound giant with only a small group of people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Look, before I do want to make sure people know what's up with this bass because this is important. This is you are partners with Ibanez, and then you said I need a certain sound, so you designed this bass. You're gonna eventually get to doing this from head to toe, but they had to use some components they already had. And you were telling us earlier what's special about it. It's got two
Yeah.
pickups or something, right? I'm not a bass player, so you can but anyway, it's got some special
Yeah.
pickups.
So now these pickups are carry Nord. Yeah, they're carry Nordstrom pickups. Ibanez Electronics and Ibanez stock bass with the customization done to it to bring the sound about. Now, this is this is 51 P bass pickup. It's an original design, Zen blade. So the long blade that just like has the notches to make it look cool.
Okay.
But it basically just picks people look at that kind of sound as like a Jocko sound.
Mm.
Now Fender has a PJ, uh, um, a precision jazz bass with a split P bass pickup, and then a jazz pickup in the back. This one had a Zen blade, which the Zen blade is warm. This one is very warm and punchy, very versatile and pure sounding. It can be in a passive, um, it can be passive control back here. And then active, I have there, volume. Right here is Ibanez's very mid pickup EQ system. So it's a mid-range sweep. So I'm actually sweep to whatever mid-range frequency I want or boost it. I have bass cut and boost and treble cut and boost. And so it's extremely cool. And the combination of pickups got a different sound to it, but it's very familiar.
Okay, cool. What
Yeah,
you got, Greg?
that's all killing, man. That's congratulations on getting that new baby out. That's really sick. But we're kind of coming up on time, and I just wanted to ask one last
Appreciate that.
question. Yo, the young cats listening,
Yeah.
what do you have any like any piece of advice you can give the cats out there who are looking to be in your shoes, or not in your shoes exactly, but live, like be out there working and playing with great musical artists and creating great art like you are, and like how do they make that happen?
Um, I would say, be honest, have humility, um, and a great work ethic because we're all human Start being around folks that are honest and that are really, have a level of humility, and that if we ask them to do something, or if we ask to be a part of something, that they can produce, and they're trustworthy, and I mean, those are basic things, but they go a long way. And in terms of dreams, you know, never stop dreaming, and not online and wanting to be like that. If there's something that, especially now, different ways to get your dreams, if things don't necessarily go the way you think they should go.
Roland, you breaking up a bit, but
Okay.
I think we got the gist of it, which was beautiful. And cats, work hard, be humble, and never stop dreaming. That's where it's at.
Like Mr. Bat said, be at the right place at the right time with the right equipment.
Hey,
There you go. That's right. That's where it is.
listen, y'all. Like
That's where it
Greg
is.
said, we are coming up on time, man. Roland, man, we really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Y'all make sure y'all look for Roland everywhere on the social media, and I'm sure he's on Ibanez's website. Make sure you, when it's public, go buy that bass. Let Ibanez know you bought it because you heard it here, and you love and you love Roland.
That's what's
So,
up.
but man, Roland, man, thank you so much for coming on
Yeah.
the Working Artist Project, bro.
Yo, thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
It's such an honor to have you, man, because you're one of the
no,
inspirational
man.
cats from this area. And man, thank you.
Yeah,
No, I
absolutely.
appreciate y'all having me. Totally. Totally.
Absolutely, y'all. Absolutely. All right, y'all. My name is Darrian Douglas,
I'm Gregory Agid.
and this is the Working Artist
Roland
Project.
Guerin.
Hey, Roland Guerin,
Yeah, come on.
we'll catch y'all next time.